So this video is going to be about just me giving a quick general explanation of my best definition for Shinto. Now, Shinto is something that you will want to explore if you are a beginner with spirituality. It helped me evolve and get to well past the point of where I even am today. Because I've been in even higher vibrations to when where I am today right now giving you this video, this vibration I'm in, I've been way past this vibration and in even way higher vibrations. But what got me there is just the want and the desire to be more in tune with myself, I guess I would say, and the desire to have more like inner discipline or inner peace, just on a daily basis going throughout life. But I think when I first got into Shinto, I was actually not eating a lot of food. What first happened with me is I stopped eating as much food as I used to, and I got to a point where I was doing more studies and research, and I learned that the cells in your body actually need more electricity to function. So as I started making more healthier foods that are more alkaline and more electric for me to eat, it basically led to the point where I stopped consuming pretty much all foods, and I would just rely on liquids. And I would make like fruit smoothies in the morning and put a lot of alkalinity in it and electricity from like lemons, limes, cinnamon, and stuff of that nature. Stuff that's full of a lot of alkaline juices that have a lot of electricity. So as I raised my vibration through my diet and giving up a lot of things that made me feel dense, that's when I started to come across certain books and different works from different authors that weren't presented to me before when I was in a different vibration, when I was in a lower density or a lower vibration, and I wasn't as evolved consciously as I am now. But Shinto was the first book that really put me in a different stratosphere as far as spirituality goes. It comes from the Japanese religion. It's a Japanese-based religion having to do with, and I don't really want to call it a religion. That's not the word I should use. It's more of a practice, and it has to do with the worship of spiritual worship of called Kami, Kami. It has to do with just basic traditions, family traditions that you pass on from generation to generation, and generational knowledge and practices that you keep within your family and pass it on to the family. And it has to do with celebrations and festivals. And the last thing it has to do with is the building of actual altars for the dead, altars for your ancestors, and what they call a shrine. Now, you can build a shrine. A shrine, your own personal shrine, could just be a table, with some candles for your ancestors and like the obituary of your ancestor on the table. You could put some things on the altar or the shrine that ancestor or that deceased loved one that you used to spend time with, some of the things that they like if they like lemon slices or orange slices, or what their favorite candy was, things like that. You would leave that on the shrine and you open up and put it out there for the energy of that entity or the energy of your ancestor or loved one that passed away, for their energy to come back and actually be remembered, and they can actually feast on the energy from the candy, from their favorite candy that you left out when you put the intention out there for them to do so. That way they never die. Shinto had to do with the belief of burning ancestor money too as well. Ancestor money is those little notes that you get from the Chinese stores or the Japanese stores that you go to, and you see those little, it's like the fake money. And they call them different notes, and they got different colors on them. You might see dragons on them. You got some of them that call hell notes, or you got some of them like even called heaven notes too as well. And they had the Jade Emperor on the notes on the ancestor money. So you would take the ancestor money, it would cost like $1.50 or something for like 100 different bills, 100 bills of ancestor money, and they would all have like $1,000 bill, a pack of like $1,000 bills, and it was called ancestor money. But you would go to your shrine, and you would have like a flower pot or something, and just take a moment to meditate, go into your third eye, envision your ancestors and their energy coming over the shrine, and let that energy flow through you and let it flow over the shrine, and you would, burn the ancestor money. And whatever realm they went to, or whatever place they were in, whatever currency that they deal with at the time, or different, type of energy exchange that they deal with at the time, whatever realm that they in, when they passed over, they would be able to collect the energy through the ancestor money. The more you burn and let that energy flow up into the universe, they would come and be able to feast over it, and they would be rich in whatever dimension that they passed on to. So some people wake up every day and they burn ancestor money. Some people go to sleep every night and they burn ancestor money. Wake up and do it, go to sleep before they do it. They just keep burning it constantly. So their ancestors and their descendants that haven't even been born yet are coming, and they're already rich, and they're their ancestors, they're making their ancestors rich wherever they are and whatever dimension they are, and they honoring their ancestors and deceased loved ones. So they have money, and they're living an abundant life wherever they went to next, whatever the form of energy exchange is there in that realm, in those respects, because it's different here, and vice versa. You would tell them to do it for you in their dimension, and you would do it for them. And it's a constant energy exchange being put out into the universe and coming back to you. There's a karma being built when you burn the ancestor money. But a shrine, if you go to Japan, a real shrine is those big stone ones that they chisel up, and they actually create images out of the stone with the shrine, and it represents the inner nations within themselves and their ancestors and their the generations yet to come and the generations of the past, and they honor those generations and those traditions with the shrine. That's what Shinto was about, and the essence and the actual meditation and getting in tune with what they call kami. Now, kami, Kami, kami is the supernatural entities within nature, and it's the supernatural energy field around nature and within yourself and around yourself. And it's having to do with the connection between everything and your reality that you see, the connection with nature, and the connection with yourself and nature, and every single object, person, place, or thing has its own individual kami, and the whole thing creates one big stratosphere. It creates one big pole within this reality or dimension that's holographic, in this holographic reality that we see through our eyes with the electrical fields and everything. So kami is connected to pretty much everything, every object, person, place, thing, and the source of which would be nature and the energy within nature and the supernatural entities within nature. So kami and the worship of kami and getting in tune with yourself has to do with the what they call the chi, the chi, Qui Gong, Qigong, the Qui Gong meditations and the chi, and just being in tune with the chakras and with the wind and with the earth and the different spiritual aspects of these things. And another thing about Shinto was having to do with the cleanliness of the body. And when I talk about cleanliness of the body, I don't necessarily only mean go take a shower or wash your hair or brush your teeth. When in Shinto, cleanliness of the body meant cleanliness of the three bodies, meaning the spiritual body, the etheric body, your auric body, and your physical body. It meant for you to be clean and have cleanliness habits on the inside and the outside. So you wouldn't just only clean your outside body, you would work to clean your spirit and work to clean your auric field and clean your chakras and clean your etheric body. So the way they taught me when I was studying Shinto was just a basic element that you use to keep your spirit body clean and to keep your chakras clean and keep your aura clean and your physical body clean too, was salt. The Himalayan salt or the salt water. They easily would go, in big groups of people that practice Shinto would go in just their underwear, and they would all go out into the ocean or go out to a lake where they knew was heavily salted water. And they would go out there and they would wash themselves and just stand out there in the water and let the waves come and hit them. And they would flow back with the waves, and they would meditate in the water and take their bar of soap out in the water and clean themselves and let the actual salt from the salt water clean their aura and clean their chakras. And they would meditate and visualize these things and clean their body as well. But the salt in the water is how you clean the different bodies that were talked about and presented to you in Shinto. And it was important for them to go 2 or 3 times a week as a group to go out to a body of water that was heavily salted or to the ocean. And this is how they would keep themselves clean. Not only on a physical level, but on a spiritual level as well. And they would practice this together as a group. But kami is, and they knew it's an actual spirit and entity that lived within the ocean and in the water itself, because the water is alive, like I told you in a previous video, and they knew this. So they would go actually and connect with the water element and the spirit within that element out there in the ocean. The ocean has its own spirit. That's why if you pour oil into the ocean, when BPU do this stupid shit and pour oil into the ocean, and or some accident happened, or it's a freak accident when a bunch of stuff is dumped into the ocean, it's not by coincidence that hell on earth starts to happen in its own type of way, because you talking about messing with a supernatural entity within the ocean that isn't happy about that, and it comes back with the karma, aka Hurricane Irene or Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane this, Hurricane that. And they actually give these hurricanes different names for different disasters, because it's actual energies and actual people doing this shit. It's an actual god, the ocean god. It's an actual god or entity associated with where they spilt that shit at. And it's coming back to whatever city. It don't give a fuck about. It really don't give a fuck about if you think I don't give a fuck about the Matrix or society or something, you're talking about messing with elemental energy. It really don't give a fuck about your little city in Los Angeles or Miami or Las Vegas or fucking New Orleans, or it don't give a fuck about that. It come through and it tear all that shit up. Simply because you mess with it and you dump some shit in the ocean that wasn't supposed to be there, and you messed up some cosmic shit having to do with nature. So it basically gets revenge. Because it's a real person or entity. It gets revenge. It's a living thing. And there's a karma attached to that. So it's just pretty important for you to know about Shinto if you're just getting into spirituality or you new, because it really helped me evolve to get to the point where I am today, and it helped me understand a lot of the things that are not spoken of here in the West. Your enlightenment is going to start not in the Western hemisphere of knowledge. You got to go to the East. You got to be facing East. You got to be looking to the knowledge that's presented to you by the Eastern side of the world, and look at that, because you only have been presented to what's here and what's on the Western side of the world. It's a whole nother half of the world. What do these people believe, or what are they disciplines? What are their ways of doing things? What are their practices? You have to look at these things and keep an open mind and read, and do research on these things and keep an open mind about it. And, let your soul guide you to the right things. I'm not telling you everything, every piece of knowledge and information that the Eastern side of the world is going to present to you that's going to be correct. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying let your personal soul guides. Let your personal soul and let your feelings from your heart chakra lead you to the right information on the Eastern side of the world. And you go find and do your own research. If you can't read or research something and determine or use your intuition or your natural reasonance that something is true or something, you'll be able to feel it in your heart chakra. What's the truth and what's not. You will. If you read something, you will be able to feel it. If that's the truth or not, you'll know. But a lot of times, spirit will just lead you to the right information, and you don't even have to challenge it unless you know for a fact that it's wrong and somebody else gave you the information. Now, that's a different story. But that's my quick little informational video about Shinto. Go read the book Shinto, the Japanese Heart, the Tradition of Shinto. Check out the traditions in Shinto. And just look at what kami is, Kami, and how to get in tune with kami, and do your chi work and the Gong meditations. A simple Gong meditation that I remember is for you to put your hands like this, and you would sit with your spine straight. You can do it in a chair, or you could do it cross-legged on the ground, and you would pretty much move your hands in this type of motion, and you will rock back and forth and take a deep breath and use the circular in and out motion like I told you in the Merkaba video. If you want to breathe that way, or you could breathe just taking heavy breaths, and you would pretty much move your hands like this and shake and rock like you would be like in a rocking chair. That's why when the old people be in the rocking chairs, what you don't know is a lot of the old people, like in those old movies, you will see them in the rocking chair, and you will see them sitting out in the front porch, sun gazing when the sun is going down, and they be rocking. And you will go out there and talk to them and shit, and they'll be like, they start telling you shit, And you'll be like, how the fuck did you already know that? I didn't even I didn't even tell you this shit yet. You telling me about what's going on in my shit. It's because they sitting there rocking and they kundalini is coming up their spine, they activated. They already know what the hell's going on, all that little shit that you talking about. And they already tapping into the shit and you don't know what's going on, but they old, they up in age and they just now figuring out the shit. So yeah, that's just me giving you a quick little informational video about Shinto. Like I said, go read up on Shinto, do your own research on Shinto. Don't just take my word for it. Let Spirit lead you to some information and maybe you can teach me. But thanks for paying attention. Thanks for watching. I am the president of, Wealthy Mindz Incorporated. There'll be more videos to come. Stay tuned.